Greetings, seekers of knowledge. Today I invite you to unlock the holocron that tells the tale of the greatest Jedi that ever lived, Luke Skywalker. His name reverberates across the galaxy, a symbol of hope, redemption, and the power of the light side. But his story is more than a legend. It is a guide, a beacon for all who walk the path of the Jedi Order. From his humble beginnings on Tatooine, to his triumphs against the darkness that once consumed his family, Luke's journey is one of courage, selflessness, and profound connection to the Force. As you listen, remember that his greatness was not measured by the power that he wielded, but the wisdom and humility in which he wielded it. Let us honor his memory as we delve into the story of a Jedi, but not just any Jedi, one who redefined what it meant to use the Force. But our holocron doesn't begin from Luke's perspective. It begins with that of his master, Yoda. Yoda's initial fear of training Luke stemmed from the lingering scars of the Jedi Order's downfall. Having witnessed Skywalker, Luke's father, succumb to the temptations of the dark, Yoda knew all too well the danger of training someone with such strong emotional ties and latent potential and power. Anakin's betrayal had cost the Jedi dearly, and the similarities between father and son were undeniable. Yoda feared that Luke's impulsive nature and deep attachment to his friends would make him vulnerable, and that if he wasn't careful, he would walk the same path. The burden of responsibility weighed heavily on Yoda. Yoda knew that if Luke fell, it would mean the final extinction of the Jedi. This manifested in Yoda's harsh and an uncompromising training method with Luke. Unlike the structured and disciplined upbringing of younglings that they received at the temple, Luke was thrown into an intense, accelerated training program, one that left little room for any error. Yoda's strict demeanor and cryptic teachings were deliberate, aiming to test Luke's resolve and forcing him to confront his weaknesses head on. Where other Jedi may have nurtured and guided, Yoda pushed Luke to his absolute limits, hoping to instill the discipline and wisdom that Anakin had lacked. It wasn't just about preparing Luke to face Darth Vader. It was about ensuring that Luke had the strength of character to resist the dark side. Interestingly, Yoda initially considered Leia as a safer option to train as a Jedi. Leia shared the same Skywalker bloodline as Luke, but her personality was markedly different. Where Luke was impulsive and emotional, Leia was disciplined, pragmatic, and politically savvy. Yoda saw in Leia a steadier and a more reliable candidate for a Jedi, someone less prone to the volatile emotions that would lead to a fall. However, Leia's deep involvement with the rebellion, and later her focus on leadership roles in the New Republic, made it impossible to train her. And ultimately, the Force guided Yoda to accept that Luke was the one destined to confront Vader and help restore balance. What set Luke apart was ultimately what made him the best Jedi. This was his willingness to acknowledge, to learn from the mistakes of the past. Unlike the Jedi of the Clone Wars and of the Old Republic, Luke did not view their teachings as infallible. He recognized the dogmatic flaws that had blinded the Jedi and contributed to its destruction. When Luke faced failure or moments of doubt, he did not shy away from them as other Jedi would. Luke embraced them as a part of the process and a part of growth. The humility and openness to change allowed Luke Skywalker to redefine what it meant to be a Jedi, blending compassion, emotional understanding, and discipline in a way that broke free from the rigid constraints of the old Jedi's code. Perhaps most shocking, though, is Yoda came to support Luke's reformation of the Jedi. In his final moments with Luke on Dagobah, Yoda admitted his mistakes. He acknowledged that the old ways were not perfect. Yoda's love for Luke and his faith in the young Skywalker's ability to forgive and to forge a new path shone through in these final moments of the Grand Master. Yoda understood that the future of the Jedi did not lie in repeating the past, but by evolving it. In this way, Yoda's relationship with Luke became a powerful example of mentorship, one grounded in mutual respect and trust, rather than a rigid adherence to tradition and an old, outdated code. Luke's journey ultimately exemplifies the transformative nature of embracing failure and one's own imperfections. By learning from the errors of the Jedi and the failures of the Father, and even the limitations of Yoda, Luke forged a new legacy for the Jedi. His resolve to preserve the ideals of the Jedi by reforming its practices demonstrated a strength that transcended power and skill in the Force. It was Luke Skywalker's humanity, an ability to learn, to adapt, to forgive. This is what made Luke the greatest Jedi, not his power. A source of pride for Yoda. Yoda finally saw hope restored to the galaxy through his final pupil. But Luke's ascension to a power level unparalleled in Force history was a culmination of his strong bloodline, his unwavering focus, and a deep connection to the light side. Luke was born of a lineage tied directly to the Force itself. Some may even say that the Force is Luke's own grandparent, but it was not his lineage that defined his destiny. It was his decisions and his choices. Unlike Anakin, Luke resisted the temptation of power and embraced humility, compassion, and selflessness. While on the surface this sounds good for a hero's journey, it's actually a lot more important in the grand Star Wars universe. These qualities resonate directly with the essence of the light side. The light side seeks harmony rather than domination. The Force recognizes Luke's purity of intent, and it chose to elevate him, granting Luke Skywalker abilities that surpass even the most legendary Jedi. The light side does not bestow its power on those who seek it for selfish purpose, a desire for dominance. The light side responds to those who act as its conduit, wielding its power for the greater good without personal gain. Luke Skywalker embodied this principle to perfection. He did not desire power for its own sake, or even to have power to destroy his enemies, but rather to bring balance, to heal a fractured galaxy. This alignment with the light side's core nature allowed the Force to flow through Luke unimpeded. It ascended his abilities to a level that no mortal had ever achieved. And in this way, the Force did not just empower Luke, it worked through him. Luke Skywalker was the light side of the Force's chosen instrument. His unmatched power stemmed not just from his mastery of Jedi technique, but his profound alignment to the light. While other Jedi such as Yoda and Windu represented certain aspects of the Force, Luke Skywalker would come to embody its entirety. His humility allowed him to accept his limitations, relying on the Force's guidance rather than his own innate strength. This deep trust in the light side's wisdom and purpose, this is what elevated Luke to a status beyond a mere Jedi. He became a living symbol of what the Force could achieve when paired with a willing and a selfless conduit. By becoming the embodiment of the light side, Luke transcended the boundaries of what any Jedi or mortal Force wielder had ever accomplished. He didn't just carry on the Jedi's legacy, he redefined it. He aligned himself and the Jedi with the Force's true nature, proving that the true strength lies in selflessness and trust, not in power. Luke's greatest achievement wasn't defeating the Sith or even saving the galaxy. It was his ability to serve the Force without letting it corrupt him. The Force elevated him because he embodied its purest ideals, showing that the greatest power comes not from seeking control, but from surrendering to the will of the light. The legend of Grandmaster Luke Skywalker endures as one of the most powerful and inspiring tales in all of galactic history. As the last Jedi of the Old Order and the first of a renewed one, Luke embodied the ultimate balance between strength, compassion, discipline, and understanding. He was not defined by his power, but by his choice in how he wielded it, proving that the greatest legacy of a Jedi is not their mastery of the Force, but their ability to inspire hope, redemption, and peace. As a teacher, leader, and living conduit of the light side, Luke redefined what it meant to be a Jedi, ensuring that the mistakes of the past would never be repeated. Luke's humility and wisdom made him a beacon of light in a galaxy long shrouded in the dark. Though his mortal life would come to an end, Luke's legend transcends time. It transcends fiction. Luke is a symbol of what is possible. His deeds become a cornerstone of the Jedi Order's rebirth, inspiring future generations to wield the Force with purpose and integrity. Grandmaster Luke Skywalker's legacy is not just one of power, but more importantly of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the light will always prevail if someone will but answer its call. As students of the Force, it is our duty to learn from those who came before us, and there is no greater example than Luke. His path was not without failure, nor was it free from struggle, and it is in those moments where his true power would emerge. From his battles against the darkness to the immense power that he wielded with humility and purpose, Luke's story holds lessons for all who seek the way of the Force. I urge you, fellow seekers of knowledge, to continue exploring our archives about Luke's legacy. Study his triumphs, his mistakes, and the balance that he achieved. For in understanding Luke's journey, you may find wisdom for your own. May the Force guide you as you uncover the truth of the greatest Jedi who ever lived, or other Star Wars lore, and may the Force be with you.